said that it was good, and you have given it to us to take care of. And so I pray that you would help us tonight as elected officials as we make decisions about caring for the land and the parks and the people and all of the components that go into this county, that you would give us wisdom and direction, help us to listen to each other well. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Everyone sit down. Roll call vote. Roll call, excuse me, please.
Commissioner Webster?
Here.
Commissioner Holzhausen, have you heard from him?
Excused.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Garber?
Here.
Commissioner Howard?
Here.
Commissioner Emery?
Here.
Chairman Broder?
Here. At this point, I would be looking for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussion changes in the agenda, Dr. Boggs? We're all set. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're all set with tonight's agenda. Next, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the February 14, 2024 Board of Commissioners meeting.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any discussions, changes in the minutes? All in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. We move on to the approval of bills. Commissioner Garber.
Yes. I move that we approve the invoice dated 2/21, 2/22, 2/23, 3/1, 3/5, and 3/8 in the amount of $7,186,887.20 and authorize Treasury to draw warrants for that amount.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on the bills. Hearing none, I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Holzhausen is excused. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
And Chairman Broder?
Yes. All right, the bills are approved. At this time, I would need a motion to open the public hearing on the county's brownfield plan. So moved.
Support.
Motion of support. All in favor of opening that public hearing, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the public hearing is open. Is there anyone in the, yes?
If you might, let us start with Justin giving a brief overview and saying if they wish.
Sounds, it's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Good.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone.
In case anyone doesn't know you, please introduce yourself to.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, good point. Justin Horvath, I'm with the Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership. Here tonight for the brownfield plan approval for Woodland Trails and Washington Park. Once again, I'll try to be brief on this, but this is a very exciting culmination of the work of the Shiawassee County Land Bank. So thank you to the Board of Commissioners for your leadership and Dr. Boggs' leadership in approving, and the Treasurer Julie's leadership in approving the land bank. It has been hugely successful in a number of ways, including our blight elimination program. But specifically here tonight, it's the culmination of putting two deals together into one brownfield plan on two sites that are owned by the land bank. One is the Woodland Trails development, which is right by Owasso High School. For those that know the area, it's right at the corner of North Street and Gould. So it's an underbuilt condo subdivision. We got, when I say we, the land bank got 14 lots from the state land bank to be able to develop. And then the other site is actually a smaller acreage site just north of the RESD building, also on North Street, so just a little bit further west of that property. That is just a piece of land right now. So what is happening through the work of collaboration of our organization and the land bank, we have brought developers to the table. We have a builder from Swartz Creek, Jeremy Morgan Construction, which will build out the remaining condominium lots, 14 of those. And then we have another developer from Oakland County, which is going to be putting in 16 rental attached townhomes. So 2 blocks of 8 on the other property, which will be essentially workforce housing, affordable housing for people to rent. So bottom line is there's going to be 30 new housing units in the city of Owasso, which is wonderful. There will be revenue coming into the land bank and the Brownfield Authority from the sale of the property. And the other thing I think is important to note here too, what the brownfield does, and I'll let Sam, the brownfield consultant for the county, get into detail, but what it does do is it allows us to capture property tax revenue from just the development itself to help pay for costs associated with the development. I think I noted this at the committee meeting Monday night, and for all the people in the room here, this is not being subsidized by the general fund, by the general taxpayer. Those sites currently are tax exempt. We will generate property tax from building housing on those sites, and that money is what will be captured to pay for the project. And your approval of the brownfield plan gives us the legal authority to be able to do that. So those are really the broad strokes. So thank you all for your leadership once again in getting us to this point. This is why we did what we did, why we wanted to establish it, to generate good economic development and housing. So with that, Sam has more technical knowledge on this.
It's always easy to follow, Justin. Thank you for having us here this evening. Samantha Mary is the Vice President of Economic Development Services with ADT Peerless. We assisted in preparing the brownfield plan for this unique project that is, a scattered TIF plan with multiple sites that are under land bank control. I think it's important to restate what Justin mentioned, is that there's no, issue with this affecting any of the general fund. It will pay for itself. You're using tax concurrent revenue from these sites that are generated to repay the county for expenses that have been incurred from the land bank and the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, the city of Shiawassee for their infrastructure improvements that they will be putting in the woodland trails, and then last to be repaid will be the Ventures Housing Washington Park Development for bringing in the infrastructure improvements to that property. It's about a 26-year payback period, which does include 5 years of capture to the local brownfield revolving fund, which is then able to be used to spur and do investigative analysis on sites throughout the county, or do grant loans for other redevelopment projects in the area. It's a very unique plan in the way it's written, but also because the city of Shiawassee does have a brownfield redevelopment authority, so we are routing that through their approval process as well. We received approval from the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority last week to release and concur with the project, and that will go before their city council for concurrence and release of the project to the county on April 1st. And I'm happy to answer any kind of brownfield technical questions you may have.
Thank you. Matt?
I've never addressed the commissioners before, so thank you for having me. Do I need to state my name and say my address?
It's always a good idea.
Public hearing. I should know that. My name is Matt McCone. I live at 1225 North Washington Street. I've lived there for approximately 20 years. And we just got done with a project, the North Street project, which was necessitated because the high school was improved and many large trucks were going down North Street as well as Washington Street. And we now have a beautiful brand new road there. And I've been asked to come here tonight by several of my neighbors because they're concerned. They're concerned about the Washington Park project. They don't know what a workforce housing development is. There are a number of rumors out there about what that might be. I can't answer those questions for them. One of the biggest issues that my neighbors have is to know where they're at in the process. Somebody was watching the meeting, recording last night's meeting, and it was stated by somebody that they were going to be breaking ground on the Washington Park project this year, and they didn't even know anything about it. I don't know how to explain to them what the process is because I have not been involved in it. Do I have some concerns for myself? Probably. It's a block away from my home. We're happy there. It's been great there for 20 years, and my home's been there since 1930. I love the idea of expansion. I love the idea of revenue coming to the county. I'm running for office this year for the first time in my life. As opposed to sitting where you folks sit and the municipalities that I represent. With respect to this, I think that at least the residents that I live by, who've lived there, all of them longer than I have, who are voters, who are involved, they don't understand this project. They don't understand what it means. I don't think that they're overly concerned about the Woodland Ponds project because it's not close to them. And when you're talking about $350,000 homes, well, that isn't as big a concern either. But I don't know how to explain to them what workforce housing is. I don't know how to explain to them what that means with respect to a complex that's less than a block away from their homes, where they walk their dogs, where I have a widow that lives next door. They're worried, and they don't understand the process. So I'm bringing that to you folks. I'm not sure what stage of the development it's in, what it means to vote in favor of the brownfield plan tonight, and if in fact that allows this project to go forward on Washington Park this year. And if there's going to be any other public hearings with respect to that, so that those folks that couldn't be here at 5 o'clock today, thankfully I could, to be their voice, if they can be involved and give some knowledge as well. Thank you very much.
You?
Would you like me to answer a couple of the questions as part of the public hearing? So
That would be fine.
this board's role is only to approve the tax plan. It has nothing to do with approving whether Woodland Trails is actually built out to condos, or if Washington Park is actually turned into what Venture Housing wants to do. This is only a mechanism for the tax capturing board. The issues of, so the Land Bank Board has approved the agreement and to move forward with Woodland Trails to build the condos. The Land Bank Board has not approved an agreement at this time with anything to do with Washington Park. They're tied together because they're part of the same funding unit. What is going to advance forward immediately will be the condos and their development. So the board that is responsible for the condos as well as Washington Park is the Shiawassee County Land Bank Board.
Isn't it true that, and Mr. Horvath, I'll clarify this as well, that this has been on the agenda of Owasso City Council in terms of the development of it? This project has been in process with Owasso City Council for a couple of years or more?
So yes. So the Washington Park business started long before it became part of the land bank's portfolio. So it was a state land bank piece of property in which the state land bank, Owasso, and Tom Cook, I believe, were working on a project to develop something like that. When this board formed the Shiawassee County Land Bank, the state land bank provided to the county land bank all of the properties in the portfolio. That included the Washington Park property. So that property is now part of the governmental entity that is the Shiawassee County Land Bank. Shiawassee County Land Bank is not the governmental entity of this body.
We're only voting on the Woodland Trails condos.
You're only voting, yes, that's the first item, the agreement.
Right.
But you're voting on the tax plan that'll allow the development of parks.
The tax plan allows for us to use tax capture from Woodland Trails, which one of the advantages of Woodland Trails being more expensive properties, about $350,000, is you get a lot of tax revenue from that. One of the things that's prevented, as I understand it, the development of Washington Park is that they need water and sewer. And if you're on North Street, you say, but it's just over there, how much can it cost? Turns out it costs a lot because they need a lift pump. Anybody who's familiar with the way sewers work, they go downhill, they hit a lift pump, and they work kind of like this. So it needs, and that makes the project much more expensive and generally hasn't been feasible for other development projects that have looked at it. With this somewhat creative way to do it, involving it, where it will fund itself, we in effect will get fairly expensive development to pay for the infrastructure cost over time for the more affordable, as I think the term is what most people use, homes. Now, I think it's important to say, as Dr. Boggs said, this is allowing the tax work and the funding that way. No development deal has been inked with the land bank in Washington Park. There's a lot of discussion, a lot of details to figure out. I can't even say for sure that that's that'll go through, or we can't even 100% for sure say that one will go through. What this does is it gives us a step so we can realistically talk with developers that there is a process to do the water and sewer that will allow the development for that piece of land and allow us to put in more housing. What will actually end up there? Well, there's some talk right now of the 16 units but that is not guaranteed yet.
Mr. Chairman?
I would also advise.
Am I
that-
accurate with that?
Yeah, I think to directly answer some of the questions that are happening here today, number one, all that can be boiled down to, we cannot, the county land bank cannot use the future tax revenues for whatever is built on either of these two sites for anything to reimburse for development costs unless there is a brownfield redevelopment plan in place, okay? And it can't happen at all. However, the ultimate approval of what goes into these places will of course be subject to the local zoning and building approval process. They're both in the city of Owasso. The county land bank, the brownfield redevelopment project, none of that overrides the local approval that will need to happen before anything is built.
So the neighbors on Washington Street will absolutely have their opportunities to weigh in.
What I am specifically
seems
saying,
that would be
what I'm
the case.
specifically saying, Chairman, is that this board, nor the land bank board, does not do zoning and building approval for these projects. That will occur pursuant to whatever ordinances and applicable law is in place in the city of Owasso. That's as far as we can go.
But
Okay?
what is for sure is after you get done voting on this, and if it passes in the affirmative, then when they do start building out infrastructure, water and sewer lines will be terminated near the Washington Park property, so that future development can occur.
And Eric just reminded me to compliment himself and Dr. Boggs and the SEDP and Sam for what they have all described as the most complex development project they've ever worked on. This has been about a year in the making, and all of them worked really hard to bring this about, and there were some times when we thought maybe it wouldn't happen. So I'm very pleased to be here tonight voting on this.
And I think it's important that the issues raised by Mr. McComb are not being addressed tonight. Our vote will not impact, as our attorney pointed out, that's not within our jurisdiction to deal with the zoning or the construction permit facets of it. So what we're acting on is very limited thing. And so that's the approach I'm taking as I consider my vote.
And that's correct, Commissioner Emery. The other part that I would note is that the Washington Park parcel is owned by the Shiawassee County Land Bank. It has not had any transfer of property. And so that would still have to go through a transfer of property at the Shiawassee County Land Bank meetings. Those meetings are the first Monday at 9 a.m. in this room. If anyone wants to come and talk about that when those agendas go up. Those agendas are posted on the door, they're posted on the Facebook, they're posted on the county website. But they meet every Monday, or every first Monday of the month at 9 a.m. here.
Matt, you had something else?
If I may.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. Again, Matt McComb, 1225 North Washington Street. Again, my purpose here was on behalf of the neighbors that have contacted me. Some in a panic, probably because things that they've read, maybe even on Facebook. So I think this is helpful to them. They can go back and they can watch the recording of this and now understand where it is in the process. And it's not time to panic, and that their voices can be heard positively or negatively in favor of either of these projects. So thank you very much for allowing us to have this public hearing.
Thank you. Justin?
And Mr. Chairman, just to have one point on that, Mr. McCone, I would be happy to get you in touch with the lead developer on that project if you'd like to get more information on the plan.
Yeah, I think that, I had my head in the sand maybe when it comes to this because I've been looking at other things recently. But we had just several people approach me today because of some things that were said at yesterday's meeting. This is the reason for me being here today, to get them some answers. So thank you very much, everybody.
That was the longest public hearing I've ever had.
It's because I was gone.
Is there anyone else? At this time, then, I would entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
I've got a motion with support. All in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that public hearing is closed. Now we have another public hearing on the Kirby Park grant, so I will need a motion to open that public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Got a motion with support. All in favor of opening that public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, we are open.
So we are applying for a grant. It has a 25% match, I believe, which we can use as in-kind labor activity support. Same thing that we did with Henderson. And I believe that we've, under the Henderson grant, it was all donated time for different individuals, drain commissioner, health director, our office staff towards putting together the reports, and then the rest would be put into improving the park. Larry, did you want to add anything?
No, just a real great project. We're looking forward to putting some much needed, long overdue improvements into Kirby Road Park, located in Caledonia Township off M21.
Anyone else want to comment on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Please.
Yes.
I didn't mean to ignore you.
Never done this before. My name's Larry Turner. I live at 5075 Shipman Road in Corona. My property adjoins Kirby Road Park on the east side. My wife and I have legitimate concerns. We have no privacy fence between the park. We've lived there about 13, 14 years. During the summer, we have issues with people in our backyard from the park, go over there. We have issues get out here. Well, what he did was, when the sheriff left, he went in and he got a lounge chair. He set it outside the motorhome facing my house, watching our house and drinking beer. He did that for 4 days before he finally moved. We had another incident back a few years ago. There was a guy in the morning, kind of like early in the morning, my wife was at work. He was surveilling the house. He was over there and he was walking around the house and looking in the windows, and he came around in the living room and he was peeking in the window, and I was sitting right across there in my robe watching TV. I seen him, he seen me, and then he took off, and I ran out the back door and I see him way over there running to the north lot, jumped in the car and took off. He was surveilling my house. We have legitimate concerns. My wife and I are both retired. But the cost of things and everything now, we just can't go finance a privacy fence to help curtail this. Which is good, I agree, is going to make this 100 times worse. So the only thing I can think of at this point is with the development, I think it's going to be, with developing the building and everything, is that I'm going to put up surveillance. I'm going to post every 8 feet, no trespassing facing the park.
Larry, you'll have another 3 minutes during public comment to finish your comments if you'd like.
Okay.
All right, this is the public here, but in just a minute we'll go into that and I'll call you again.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right, did we have a motion to close or do we still need that? We did.
I will make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right. Support. So we do have a motion with support. All in favor of closing this public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. At this time then, now we will move into the general opportunity for the public to address this board. Larry, I might as well let you go first so you can finish your comment.
Part two. Okay, I was trying to figure out how to do this because like I said, I can't afford to put up a privacy fence. So I'm just gonna post every 8 feet, no trespassing facing the park. I got surveillance putting up in the back of the house. And with people coming over onto my property, I go prosecute. Dog unleashed on my property, I'll call the sheriff. All debris, I'll call the parks to come out there and pick it up. People out there at night, I will call the sheriff. Any of this, I will call the sheriff to get this done. But that's the only resolution I can see to kind of curtail this. The way I see it, I think it's great that they're developing a park, but this observation thing on the north end of the park on a private lake, I don't know if those lake folks are going to be real happy about that, because it's not going to curtail the fishing and there's going to be swimming and stuff, and it is a private lake. So that was just what I wanted to say. I think if anybody here were living right where I'm at, they'd express the same concerns, experiencing what we have experienced so far. And that's the only point I want to make. So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Joanne Sutton, please.
Oh, sorry, it's penmanship, it's Justin, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was strange, Joanne.
Joanne, come on forth.
You know, this world we live in today. Again, my name's Justin Sutton. My dad, Frank Sutton's here. We're both residents of Shiawassee County, live in Durant. And Bill Perry over here is our friend. He invited us out to the Farm Bureau breakfast this last Friday to talk about public infrastructure. And so I was invited to come here tonight, and I know I've only got the 3 minutes, but I want to make myself available for more conversation with all of you, so you understand the opportunity that's sitting and is, how do they say it in lawyer speak, sitting on your rights. So the state of Michigan has passed 2 unanimous resolutions to mandate fully sustainable public infrastructure for the state in 2003, so that's now 21 years ago, something like that. So I would like to describe this real quickly. You have in front of you some booklets. I have 5 left if anyone would like one of these. In this booklet, you will find a description of the public infrastructure, which is the first in the world to be solving the problems of sustainable energy production, storage, and distribution, and public transportation. This infrastructure system provides 2 acres of solar panels for every mile of interstate highway. The company is called Interstate Traveler Company because of the purpose that the company was formed. The company was formed in 2002 after 7 years of private research and development. We became close with the United States Department of Defense on national security matters because our power lines are very vulnerable. Whether it's a wooden stick in the ground or the high tension line corridors going across the country that lose anywhere from 7 to say 17% of the power that goes into them doesn't come out. We solve these problems, and these solutions were resolved 20 years ago plus, and resolved by the state and actually read on the floor in the House of the United States Representatives. So this infrastructure is here for you. It's set up to operate under a public-private partnership where you get $10 per capita paid to you. So if you have 1,000 people that live in this county, you will get $10,000 a year. That's just a basic round number. Full details available at elevatedrailsystems.com. We have multiple websites, but Elevated Rail Systems provides you with a more detailed description of how the public-private partnership works. Again, my name is Justin Sutton. I'm the founder of the Interstate Traveler Company. I have over 400 private members. We're a Michigan company, and we look forward to changing things for the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Karen Smith, please. Good. I got that.
Very well, I might say. I'm Karen Smith, and I had the privilege of working the 9-day early voting under Caroline, and I just wanted to come and say that we felt it was a very successful endeavor, and the building, the place where we held our early voting, was very nicely laid out because of the county being over there before us. So electrical was wonderful. We didn't have problems running cords across the floor to make sure the tabulators were plugged in any one place. We had it all across the one end. I think we had 409, I can't remember, because I worked the other polls at my home township, so.
But just over 300.
Oh, 300, sorry, I elevated that a little bit. Voters that came through. One of the things that we found, and we asked a lot of them, how did you know about it? How did you come in and vote? Most of them were with a postcard that was sent out. Others were elated that they were going out of town, going to go traveling, and they were able to come in and vote early. Some thought this was the only place they could vote and didn't know they could still vote on their election day as well, so we kind of straightened that all out with a lot of people. But never once did we lack in that facility. Hats off to Caroline for what she did and how she put it together. It was fabulous. All the people that I worked with felt we couldn't believe that we all came together from different areas, didn't know each other, and different experiences, and we worked so well together. So just wanted to share that with this group. And thank you for the area that we had to do it in.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, let's move on to committee reports. Commissioner. I'm sorry. Oh, please.
Okay. My name is Frank Sutton. I live on 1418 or 148 Main Street, West Main Street in Durham. I've been here about 2 years, and along with my son, we have started a project. It's called the Hydrogen Superhighway. Interstate Trailer Company, LLC, Michigan. And our project is a lot bigger than probably anything you've seen before. So he told you a little bit about this system. On the top of it is 2 acres of solar field for every mile of Eisenhower freeway system. There's 57,000 miles of Eisenhower freeway system in the U.S. You know what that adds up to? 114,000 acres of solar fields to make this the largest green energy machine in the world. That's just in the U.S. Now, in the world, because we're a worldwide project, the market cap, in my opinion, is $7 trillion for the U.S. I'm sorry, 1.2 trillion for the U.S., 7 trillion for the world. That's big, but if the world wants to go to green energy and to go to solar, because we can capture the energy from the sun, turn water into hydrogen, and then we got something that's sustainable. Once it's built, it'll be totally self-sufficient. Now what can you do? Probably you're not big enough, strong enough financially to do anything by yourself, but you could get together 30 to 50 counties. How many counties in Michigan?
83.
Huh?
83.
83? If everybody come up with $1 million, that's $83 million. What will your return be on it? In 10 years, once it's built, 5 times affect any decision tonight, but you got your booklet. If you want to go to YouTube, we have 25 to 50 videos on there about this system. And there are some millionaires that like the project, but it's too big for them to, unless they get together with a bunch of other millionaires. But it's not really designed for one individual. It's designed for all the governors to get involved in it, all the states. All the governors of any state got to do is sign a public-private partnership and give right away for the outside 30 feet of the Eisenhower freeway system. And that makes it easy for us to raise the money to build the system and make the world much more energy independent. So I think that's about all I got to say.
Thank you.
You got any questions?
All right. Went a little fast last time. Anybody else? All right then. Now we can go to the reports. Commissioner Garber, could you get us started?
Sure, thank you. I did walk the James Minor Trail this afternoon. Gorgeous day for that. I have attended those meetings for about 2 years, and as you all know, we voted to participate since we do own, as the county, part of that trail, the property. So I think that it's a great thing to continue, and I did pass a lot of people, a lot of strollers, a lot of people riding bikes, so I hope we continue to support that. That's all I have.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Webster?
I have just one thing. So I asked Dr. Boggs / Morgan to print the some of the tools from the Michigan Association of Counties opioid plan. You may remember a few months ago, I and Dr. Boggs had met, and I think Chairman Broder, we met with Amy Dolinky from the Michigan Association of Counties, came with a proposal about how we could move forward with a decision about how to spend our opioid settlement dollars. And at that point, it was a consensus of the Board of Commissioners that we would use the tools that were on the MAC website and not bring Amy Dolinky, who I will say assembled all of those tools, in to help us. We haven't moved forward with that, so to get this in front of us, this is one of the tools. Some of the tools are way too large to print. This is one of the shorter ones, and I just invite you to look through it. One of the reasons for me bringing this to you now is I've been attending the Shiawassee Prevention Network meetings, which is a collaborative meeting of several organizations in the community that address issues like substance use, suicide, human trafficking on the prevention side. And represented at that table is the Health Department, Shiawassee Health and Wellness, someone from the Family Court, and they've been curious, and as well as private providers like Catholic Charities, like Recovery Pathways. And so they've been curious to know what is going to happen with the opioid dollars. And they have formed a committee, which I have asked to sit on, because they want to come up with some suggestions to this board for what we should do as a community. I also know that Jane Brown was here from FAN, Families Against Narcotics, and presented to us, and I know that she has put together a plan that she's going to come back and ask for money. And so I feel like we need to move forward with some sort of plan or idea about what we're going to do, because requests are going to start coming at us. And I think we need to have an idea of how we want to proceed. So this 10 indicators is very helpful. If you don't read the whole thing, just kind of read the big bullets that are in here. But I think we can have a discussion about this later, but I just wanted to get this printed in your hands. I also know that Morgan sent out a couple of links to tools that we did not print, but I just wanted to get those in front of us so we could start having a conversation.
Thank you. Isn't there some monies up in the air because of the Rite Aid bankruptcy?
The Rite Aid bankruptcy is, so right now we received last year around $667,000. This year we should receive something equal to it. But then after that, for the next several years, it'll be around 290 to 300,000, and then starts dropping down lower to that over the next couple.
Spring Township Road project. Other than that, everything's good.
Thank you. Commissioner Emery?
I did attend the last public health meeting on the public health board. Along with what Commissioner Webster mentioned, I do think it is time for us to take some action on this. The last meeting the Association of Counties had, it was the courts in Public Safety Committee, but they had a gentleman in talking about the situation with the drugs. And just as an example, if you took heroin, for example, the danger of heroin is kind of a baseline. And then we hear how like fentanyl is 100 times more dangerous. And in the course of this meeting, I didn't see any of the data or studies or anything, but the suggestion was that there's some illicit drugs out there that are thousands, not hundreds of times more dangerous, but thousands of orders of magnitude more dangerous. So I don't know what extent the opioid monies that we are going to get can address these problems, but I think we should take a look at that. It has been my position that we concentrate on our public health department and the courts that deal with these problems and people that are addicted, and that it was my thought that we should rely on those, initially we should rely on those two entities to study this issue, recommend to us proposals on how to disperse these opioid funds. So I do think I haven't had a chance to meet personally with Amy, although she's associated with MAC. She wasn't at these meetings that I was at, but I didn't. I mean, if she's got something to contribute to this, I think listening to her would be worthwhile. But I think we need primarily to depend on our county people to follow through on their areas of jurisdiction and give us recommendations, at least initially, on how to deal with this.
Thank you. All right, at this time we will move into our motions. Commissioner Howard, can you get us started?
Absolutely. I move to approve the Woodland Trail Development Agreement as presented between the City of Owasso, Shiawassee County Land Bank Authority, and the Woodland Trails HOA as presented.
Support.
I have a motion with support. We've discussed that quite a bit. Is there anything more? Any questions?
So this, just to know, for this part, we're serving as the bank to guarantee the money that, so lots will be sold, the money given to the land bank will give the money to us to hold on to till such time as the tax capture has repaid for the sewer repairs. We're just serving as the bank, and as part of it, we get to keep the interest off of the investment.
For anybody who isn't aware of it, the Woodland Trails has a private sewer. It needs repair before the city will take it on as their own, and there is a funding mechanism in there to make the city whole at some point.
That's New Brownfield, yes,
Yes, but we're holding the money.
as a guarantee.
Yep.
And I think it's important for us, at this point at least, what I'm considering as we vote on this, that what we're doing tonight is very limited. We're dealing with money as to the actual construction, or the appropriateness of the usage under zoning is under somebody else's jurisdiction. We are just kind of getting this ball rolling, but there are other people that are going to have to take action on that, which will address the concerns that I think any neighbor would appropriately have to what's going on. I assume that these are kind of like vacant parcels now, so as this is presented today, it's either remains vacant and there's no further money involved, or there's there are proposals of what might be constructed there, but that is not a final decision, and that's not within our purview in any event.
So those are two different, only is Woodland Trails, this is just the condo lots. So it's a half-built condo subdivision. This is gonna allow us to finish the sewer and build the condos. This has nothing to do with Washington Park, which will come in the sewer part in the next one.
Okay, so I do recall an issue being raised here before us that the efficacy of that program, because it would be such costly
Yes.
structures and wouldn't impact homelessness, which is I think that's a questionable statement to make. It, even as expensive as it is, may have the action of ameliorating the housing for even the lower level projects too. So, but in any event, as long as it's understood the limits of what this vote is going to impact, I think is important.
It's important to note Woodland Trails, of course, has to adhere to the guidelines for the HOA, the homeowners association, the condominium complex, which are, quite restrictive, as well as city requirements, and et cetera, et cetera. So again, all of that is outside of us.
Outside our jurisdiction.
Outside. That's part of what made it such an amazingly complex development to get going, and what kept our two attorneys sitting at this table up so many hours, I think. Other discussion on that? Roll call? Yes, let's do a roll call vote on this.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen is excused, and Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move to approve Resolution 240302, approving the brownfield plan for Woodland Trails.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Further discussion on that one? It's approval of the brownfield as we talked about, the authorities and so on.
I think for clarification, I think saying the brownfield tax capturing authority is important.
And
That's
specifically
all
the
you're-
county brownfield as opposed
Owasso.
Support.
motion with support. Any discussion on that? Fairly standard stuff. We've been through these before. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen is excused, Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move to approve the remonumentation peer review group members and the remonumentation contract as recommended by the surveyor.
Support.
Motion with support. Discussion on that item?
This is grant funded. You approve it every year to have his peer review group.
I'm sure it's a matter for, remonumentation is a matter of discussion around most people's dinner table. No? All right, call please.
Commissioner Webster,
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen is excused, Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Garber,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Emery,
Yes.
and Chairman Broder.
Yes.
I move to approve resolution 240303 for Kirby Road Park grant application.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Any further discussion on that grant application?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Tom.
My concern is maybe kind of similar to what I addressed with the Land Bank Authority actions that we took. The gentleman was here and indicated some problems that he's had. Now, a couple things to me were interesting. When you have public-private property interfaces, if I'm going to use that term, my experience in government has been that it's not uncommon to have concern disputes and problems, and generally where the private property owners feel that they're being encroached upon because the government is inviting people to come on the public property, which is adjacent to theirs. It strikes me, having heard comments here earlier, is that it appears in the present state there's already a problem existing because at least enough of the public knows that they can go on that property that is public property, that it's causing the private owners some concerns. It seems to me, I'm tending to want to support this because it seems to me that by this grant is obtained, that it will provide an opportunity to put together some sort of project for to apply to that property, for the use of that property. And it seems to me in that way, the public entity can be made aware of these potential problems and design whatever future project is going to be there. I don't know if this just would entail maybe mowing it or building something, or, I mean, I was thinking in terms of perhaps there could be some barrier put up. At a minimum, a clear delineation of the private property line from the public property, and I think it strikes me that passing this will tend to reduce or maybe somewhat reduce the concerns that our property owner has had on his adjacent private property. So based on that, I'm inclined to think that we should approve this resolution.
So I would note, I mean, I guess, because I'm here every day, I mean, this is the first that we've heard of that in a public setting, that there's a problem from the homeowner. We can take steps to look at remediating that if we get the grant. We can look at some other ways of trying to separate out where their property line is from our line. That wasn't contemplated when we put this together because we didn't know about it, and it's one piece of data that, then calling the sheriff's department or reaching out to buildings and grounds. They don't necessarily talk. It's a very large county with 275 different employees. So we can take a look at a way to remediate some of that and help them out and address their concerns. Now, I think that there's a couple of different concerns to separate out from what they had said. One is the actual park-related things, such as the trespass of the dogs. The squatter is a different issue. That's not as much of a parks issue as a law enforcement issue.
Meeting, and again, similar to the land board, it's posted on the website. It's normally the first Wednesday at 6 o'clock, but location varies because we move from park to park.
Side, I just got a message from someone who's watching us live and there's no sound. I know that's happened to us before. I just thought I'd note that. Commissioner, you had a comment?
Well, I think most of them were addressed. We have done extensive tree plantings in several parks. Maybe this would be another good place to put some trees instead of a fence. My other question was, is that building still full of junk?
Half of it.
We've been working on removing it.
It was full, now it's half full.
Okay,
There's some hopes for
Baby
it's a nice,
steps.
There's a nice building. There's some hopes to
I've been in it.
make those bathrooms into bathrooms, and make the possibly even use it as a community rental building, and a number of real good ideas. I think that would make the park a lot friendlier.
Yes.
So I hope those
It might
come to
attract a
fruition in the
different,
future. Pardon me?
the improvements, when made, might attract a different sort of person to come and frequent the park.
Yes, I hope so.
I think our administrator means it's half empty.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call, please.
Econ F, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Holzhausen is excused. Commissioner
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster? Yes. And Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes of the March 11th, 2024 Economic and Physical Development Committee meeting.
Have a motion with support, a discussion on the minutes. Hearing none, all in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you very much. Commissioner Webster.
All right, item A, I move to accept the tentative agreement between 35th Judicial Circuit Court Association contract and Shiawassee County and authorize the chair to execute the final agreement.
Support.
A motion with support. Dr. Boggs, want to say a couple words on that?
So this is very similar to our ASME contract. They did give up election day, mainly because election day doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of a rolling 9-day thing, right? So that's now gone. They have agreed to the high drug mail-in order plan, and they've agreed to the wage study. So I think that we're very near where we need to be. This is the last of the ones that we have that are up this year. So next year we will have district court and family court. At this time, they have not accepted the wage study because they already have COLA built in for for this year for their wage study. So when their contract comes open next year, we'll address those.
Anything else? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Olshausen is excused. Chairman Broder?
Yes.
Item B, I move to approve the replacement of walk-in freezer for the jail in an amount not to exceed $11,885 from the jail trust account.
Support.
Motion with support. The discussion on that. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Olshausen is excused. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Broder?
Yes.
Item C, I move to approve the minutes of the March 12, 2024 Public Safety and Courts Committee meeting.
Support.
Motion with support. Discussion on the minutes. All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved. Thank you, Commissioner Webster. Commissioner Garber, please.
Thank you. I move that we approve to reappoint Christina Ardeling to Shiawassee Health and Wellness Board, appoint Josh Haley as an alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Cynthia Van Lake to the CCAB, and Brent Singer to the Parks and Recreation Board.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion on those items?
Very quickly, 3 of them, there was one opening, one applicant. The other one is a statutory position. The person who was on the CCAB had retired, and the director is going to take that place on the board by request of the MDOSB.
Okay. Roll call, please. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Olshausen excused. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move that we approve the replacement of a registered environmental health sanitarian at a grade 7.
Support.
Motion with support. Discussion on that item. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Olshausen is excused. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
And Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move that we approve the use of up to $35,000 from the Solid Waste Fund, Waste Management Fund 230, to fund 2 household hazardous waste collections in 2024.
Support.
I have a motion with support. Discussion on that. Larry, you said the other day, it's pretty much what we've done every year, but our costs have gone up $5,000, correct?
Correct.
Is there anything else you needed to add?
Great program.
Yep.
First one's coming up in May in Perry.
Second one, I think it's September. All right. Any further questions or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Emery?
Yes.
Commissioner Webster?
Yes.
Commissioner Olshausen is excused. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Garber?
Yes.
Commissioner Howard?
Yes.
Chairman Broder?
Yes.
I move that we approve the millage renewal as presented for Pleasant View Shiawassee County Medical Care Facility and to place it on the August 6, 2024 ballot with any final review being made by legal counsel.
Support.
Motion with support. Any further discussion on that?
Couple of things. The part about the legal counsel, we need to list out, in addition to what Shane and her exempt DDAs and specialty districts that are exempt from the tax capture part of the millage. So Eric and myself will do that and then send that on over to the clerk. Second, this is just a renewal. It is not an increase. They were at 1.96 or 1.96 after a Headley rollback. They're staying at that current level, and that's what they're asking for instead of going up to 2 mills.
Greg, I had one thing. I do attend the Pleasant View board meetings as a liaison, not as a board member. And I will tell you, it's one of the best meetings that I go to, one of the most informative. And it's nice that when I am in the community or I'm asked a question, I have 100% confidence in saying that that is a wonderful place for our community and our people that need to be there.
Anyone else?
I would also note that, building on what Commissioner Garber said, in the next few months, Shana will be bringing additional proposals because they're looking at expanding because the wait list is quite long and we cannot accommodate everyone. And it is a county-owned facility, so you will be participating in those approvals for expansion and things of that nature to come.
Thank you.
Well, and I would say, to Dr. Boggs's point,
Grant application that Commissioner Webster has been working on, and then a couple of upgrades that we're hoping to make to District Court, including a little bit of remodeling. There are some issues with some piping in the sewer system, and we're going to address those, and then we do a little sprucing up around there in addition to what we already started, or at least that's the proposal we'll be bringing to you.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Boggs? All right, this is our second opportunity for the public to address this board. Is there anyone who'd like to come forward? Yes, please.
If I may, just to reiterate what we touched on earlier, again, my name is Justin Sutton. I'm the founder and managing partner of the Interstate Traveler Company, where the company was created to commercialize the technology of the rotors you had. I want to retouch on the energy potential of the system. Dad had mentioned that for every mile of this rail system we stand up, it supports 2 acres of solar panels, which is a megawatt per mile per hour. 100 miles of this rail in, say, the Detroit metro area would make 100 megawatts from noon till 1 on any day. It is the most powerful energy system that will ever be built in this country or really anywhere. So this system, being so powerful in generating energy, it helps protect our future, of course, on energy security matters. It enables buy-sell agreements with local energy companies, so if a farmer happens to have a solar field, we can buy their electrons, when they're able to sell them, and sell them back to the power grid, or however, buy-sell agreements are kind of a normal thing these days, so that's a part and parcel of what we do. But I want to touch on the public-private partnership one more time. The public-private partnership agreement we have sitting essentially on the governor's desk in Lansing now since 2004 is a public-private partnership agreement the state already uses. It's already been approved by the Attorney General, and it's been used by several organizations to lay fiber down highway rights-of-way and gas lines down highway. It's the same agreement. However, those agreements the state already uses pays very little. Our system pays 50%, because the machine without the land does nothing, and the land without the machine just costs a lot of money. Our system enables a massive offset on the overhead for everyone. So please take a look at it, and I would like to make myself available to you guys for in-depth discussion, in-depth presentation. Answer in writing, please, any questions in writing, you'll get answers in writing. And let's see, I've got 52 more seconds, so let's see. Again, just to point out, I started out developing this in 1995, on March 19th. Hit me like a million pounds of bricks, and I'm a student of American history. The Industrial Revolution is something that fascinated me as a child. My parents bought me a lot of books and I read them. So I was well aware of what happened in the 1800s with the consolidation of power and why the Sherman Antitrust Act was formed. So this system is designed to level the playing field for the people and the municipalities so that everybody gets paid and nobody gets taxed out of their property in the future. So with that, again, my name is Justin Sutton, and I look forward to being of service.
Thank you.
I'm going to reiterate a little bit on this. It's the railroading or transportation of the future. Oh, well, I'm Bill Perry, and 3 miles out of Duran, Vernon, and Bancroft, 7008 South Vernon Road.
Thank you.
But I'm into fiber